Welcome to Temple B'nai Or. Welcome back. Welcome to all of you online. Your prayers will reach us and join with us this morning here in the sanctuary. We've been saying the words throughout the high holy days of Psalm 27, Adonai Ori v'Yishvi. God is my light and my refuge secure. Who shall I fear? God is the stronghold of my life. Of whom should I be afraid? Just one thing I asked of God, only this do I seek, to dwell in God's house all the days of my life, to behold divine sweetness and beauty and gaze in delight at God's temple. Page 140.
מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקר, אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקר. שבתי שבתי לבית אדוני, שבתי שבתי כל ימי חיי לחזור בנועם אדוני ולבקר בהיכלו, לחזור בנועם אדוני, to gaze upon the beauty of one thing I ask you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life. One thing I ask you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life.
Page 176.
יתקדש שמי רבו, מעלמות יברכי רעותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובימיכון, ובחיי כל בית ישראל. ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם, ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשו. לעילא, מן כל ברכותיו ושירותיו. דמירן בעלמיים
Page 181, we pray, like an unbroken current, energy streams from the source, bathing the planet in life, calling forth life, movement, mind unfolding from matter, the power to love. And we offer it back to you, our own creative energy, ever dreaming, building, shaping patterns out of chaos, searching out light in the darkness. Creation never ceases, not for an instant. All life is aglow with your light. All things draw sustenance from the source.
מרבו מעשיך אדוני, כולם בחוכמה עשית, מלאה הארץ קנייניך, תתברך אדוני אלוהינו, על שבח מעשה ידיך, ועל מריאו שעשית יפרוך הסלע, אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצר המאורות.
Page 182 together. Love abundant, love unstinting. Our God, you have enfolded us in love. Tender compassion beyond all bounds, your precious gift. Our fathers and mothers gave you their trust, and you gave them Torah, laws by which to live. For their sake, teach us as well. Grace us with your guidance. Loving Father, merciful Mother of us all, grant us clear understanding, that we may listen, learn, and teach, preserve, practice, and fulfill with love every lesson of your Torah. May learning your Torah light up our eyes. May our hearts embrace your mitzvot. Unite us in love and reverence for you, that we may never feel ashamed of our deeds. We have trusted in your great and holy name. Now let us celebrate at last the joy of your salvation. Bring us in peace from the four corners of the earth. Lead us with upright pride to the land that is ours. For you are a God of miracles and wonders. For all the peoples of the earth, you sought us out and brought us near to your great enduring truth. So with love, we acknowledge and proclaim that you are one.
והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו. כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון. וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול, סלע באמת, להודות לך וליחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 193, let's pray responsively. Emet v'yatziv, true and enduring. All else is fluid, impermanent, fleeting. Unsteady we falter. In chaos we cry. In quest for some certainty, an anchor for trust. Sur chayenu magen yishenu, rock of our lives, our shield and protector. You are the constant abiding through time, whose work speaks of wholeness and justice. You, the still center, fixed point where we stand. From the ends of the earth, from the depths of despair, we call with the psalmist to our fortress and refuge. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Our shelter and strength, grounded in you, we shall never be shaken. The towers of cities will crumble with age, and iron corrodes and decays into rust. But the words and teachings that echo from Sinai are true and enduring. Forever they stand. Page 196.
לשמחו כל שפות
Page 209. Today we call it by its rightful name, a day of dread, Norah Ayom, unwelcome visitor, for we want to live in a sunny world where God is love and all endings are happy. But the drumbeat sounds and the words tumble down, and even the angels tremble with fear, for all things are judged and all things will pass, and life ends in a heartbeat and death knows our name. At the start of the year, in the season of truth, comes the day of remembrance for all we forget and all we deny. And we fall on our knees in the depths of our hearts, for we know that the bell tolls for us. The words are old and the language was theirs, but the call is real and the message is ours. Take hold of your life while you still have the chance. For your story will end, and it might be this year in a way you don't know. Take hold of your life. Make things right while you can. And don't miss the call of the day of dread. Page 208.
שבטו לפניך כבני מרום ורקלות רואה מעביר את ענו תחת שבטו כן תעביר ותספור ותמנה ותפקוד נפש החי ותחתוך קצבה לכל בריאה ותיקון את כל דינור בראש השנה יבטאו וביום צמים בראש השנה ייכתבון וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון ארון וכמה יבראון וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון בראש השנה וביום צום כיפור ינוח ומי ינוח ישקט ומי יתערף ישלם יתסחר יעני וישר וישפל ומי ירום
114 together. But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree. You are everything that we praise you for, slow to anger, quick to forgive. You do not wish the death of sinners, but to urge them to return from their ways and live. Until the day of death, you wait for them. You accept them at once if they return. Since you created us, you know our impulses. We are but flesh and blood. Adam Yesodome Afar, we who are mortal, our origin is dust, and so is our end. We wear out our lives to get our bread, like broken vessels, like withered grass, like a flower that must fade, a shadow moving on, a cloud passing by, mere dust on the wind, a dream that flies away. But for you, ever-living sovereign, time has no limits. Your presence, unbounded by days and years, is everywhere, a glorious mystery none can decipher. Your name is worthy of you, and you are worthy of your name. And our name you have linked with yours. Please rise. We will teach your greatness, L'dor Vador, from generation to generation. And to the end of time, we will affirm your holiness. Our God, your praise shall ever be on our lips, for your power is boundless, sovereign, and holy. Please turn to page 228. You and you alone, Adonai, will reign over creation upon Mount Zion, home of your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you. As the psalmist believed, the Eternal shall reign for all time, your God for all generations. Zion, hallelujah.
kadosh אתה ונורא שמך ונעלם מבלעדיך ככתוב ויבח אדוני צבאות במשפט והקדוש נקדש בצדקה ברוך אתה אדוני
We continue our prayers privately, the traditional words on the even number pages, interpretations on the odd number pages. You can let your eyes wander throughout the pages. You can let your eyes wander inward to your heart and offer the words of your heart. The Amidah concludes on page 250. You may be seated when you are finished.
Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, Torah u'bracha. Torot chaim ve'ahavot chesed u'tzedakah v'bracha v'rachamim v'chaim v'shalom. Sim shalom, sim shalom, Torah v'tov v'nechu, v'rech et amcho Yisrael v'et kol ha'amim. בכל עת ובכל שעה בשמך
Shana Tova. I am Meg Wiviet.
I am Jim Wiviet.
It is our honor to serve as the chairs of the High Holy Day Appeal this year. We have been members of Temple B'nai Or since we moved to Morristown in 1995. Our children, Morgan and Noah, attended Hebrew school here and became B'nai Mitzvah on this bima. Now they are both grown, out of the house, out of the state, married, and with children of their own. Over the years, our participation in Temple has fluctuated. There have been stints on the board and various committees. The one constant commitment that we have made has been through Temple's involvement with Nourish NJ, formerly known as the Morristown Community Soup Kitchen, where I have volunteered since shortly after we moved here. Synagogue has never been a central piece of our social lives. We do not attend Friday night services regularly, and in fact, we attend them so rarely that on more than one occasion, we have been asked at Oneg if we are new members. And on high holidays, we like to sit up there, in the balcony, close to the stairs, so that we can make a quick exit before the schmoozers cause a crowd. We are not skilled schmoozers. Yet despite our inconsistent participation and our borderline antisocial personalities, we have always financially supported the temple. Jim retired a few months ago and decided he wanted to become more involved at Temple. However, I do recall he said that while he would be willing to do almost anything, he did not want to ask people for money.
Alas, here I am, asking you for money, right after you were asked to pay your dues and religious school fees. In all seriousness, thank you for your generosity. None of us is completely self-sufficient. We need our community, our Jewish community, to fill our spiritual and sometimes social needs. Ask yourselves, what is my obligation to Temple B'nai Or? For Meg and me, it is to help ensure the temple is a strong, Reformed Jewish presence in Morristown that not only provides children with a Jewish education, but meets our members' needs through all life cycle events. And perhaps most importantly, that the synagogue be inclusive and open to anyone who is interested in joining. Inclusivity is particularly important to us, as Meg is a Jew by choice, and our son is married to a lovely non-Jewish woman. We understand the complexity that these situations can have on extended families, and the importance of a supportive and welcoming Jewish community. As many of you are aware, temple dues are not sufficient to meet all of our financial obligations. As a result, the High Holy Day Appeal continues to be an important source of revenue. We understand the last 18 months have been difficult, but we hope you will reaffirm the age-old act of tzedakah by giving generously to this year's appeal. We thank all of you again for your generosity and wish you and your family a happy New Year 5782, full of peace and good health.
It's my honor to call our past president, Michelle Murray, to the bima as we turn to page 252. Please rise. Other way. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu, together. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and merciful, hear our prayer.
אבינו מלכנו, חטאנו לפניך.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamor Aleinu, Ve'al Olalenu, Ve'tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families.
אבינו מלכנו, כלה דבר וחרב ורעב מעלינו.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Kol Tsar Umastin Me Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror.
אבינו מלכנו, כותבנו בספר חיים טובים.
Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the books of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness.
אבינו מלכנו, מלא ידינו מברכותיך.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings. Avinu Malkeinu, Harem Kerem Mishichecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes redemption.
אבינו מלכנו, נא אל תשיבנו ריקה מלפניך.
Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing. Avinu Malkeinu, kabel barachamim uvratzon et filatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it.
אבינו מלכנו, עשה עמנו למען שמך.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh lemancha, im lo lemanenu. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours.
אבינו מלכנו, אין לנו מלך אלא אתה.
Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu, patach sharei shamayim lefilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer.
אבינו מלכנו, שמע קולנו, חוס ורחם עלינו.
Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice, treat us with tender compassion. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu va'anenu, ki in banu ma'asim, aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, a meditation to remind us what we strive for, a chant that binds us to the chain of generations. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, a moment of purest solidarity with our people's hopes and history, an invitation to affirm or dissent, to challenge or believe, to ask why or say amen. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, flowing like waters that renew the spirit, refreshing and sweet to nourish the soul. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, every word a blessing, every verse a conversation with God.
Adonai, 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 Erchum v'chanun, Erchum v'chanun,
Torah reading this morning is found on page 266. reading from Sefer Dvarim, the book of Deuteronomy. But the people are about to enter into the land of Israel, and they reaffirm the covenant that the people made at Sinai 40 years before. All of the people, and they say not just those who are there that day, but ancestors and the future generations. It's like Yom Kippur when all the Jews come together. If only it weren't only like Yom Kippur. But everybody together, but the key is that it's saying what we're doing today is not beyond our grasp. It's not the Torah, Jewish life is not something for just the people wearing white on the bima. It's for all of you. It's in all of your hearts. It says it's not in the heavens and not beyond the sea. Jewish life is life of a people, a life of an individual. It's there for all of us to grasp it. It's our honor to call to the bima to invoke blessings before and after our chanting of Torah. Wendy and Paul Gottsegen.
יעמדו יונה ומנחם בני אברהם ושרה לעלייה לתורה.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam ba'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
אמן. אתם ניצבים היום כולכם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם, ראשיכם שבטיכם, זקניכם ושורותיכם, כל איש ישראל, טפכם נשיכם, וגרך אשר בקרב מחניך, מחוטב עציך, עד שואב מימיך. לעוברך בברית אדוני אלוהיך ובעלתו אשר אדוני אלוהיך כורת עמך היום למען הקימותיך היום לו לעם והוא יהיה לך לאלוהים כאשר דיבר לך, וכאשר נשבח לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב. ולא איתכם לבדכם, אנוכי קוראת את הברית הזאת ואת העלה הזאת, כי את אשר ישנו פה עמנו עומד היום לפני אדוני אלוהינו, ואת אשר איננו פה עמנו היום.
כי המצווה הזאת אשר אנוכי מצווך היום לא נבהלתי ממך ולא רחוקה היא, לא בשמיים היא לאמור. מי יעלה לנו השמיימה ויקהך לנו וישמיענו אותה ונעשנה.
ולא מעבר לים היא לאמור, מי יעבור לנו
וישמיענו אותך ונאזנה, כי קרוב אליך הדבר מאוד בפיך ובלבבך לעשותו.
ראה נתתי לפניך היום את החיים ואת הטוב ואת המוות ואת הרע, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום לאהבה את אדוני אלוהיך, ללכת בדרכיו ולשמור מצוותיו וחוקותיו ומשפטיו, וחיית ורבית וברכך אדוני אלוהיך בארץ אשר אתה ושמה לרשתה.
ואם נפנה לבבך ולא תשמע, ונירקת והשתחווית ואלוהים אחרים ועבדתם, הגדתי לכם היום כי יבוא טוב ודון, לא תאריכון ימי על האדמה, את אתה עובר את הירדן, היושמה לרשתה.
העידותי בכם היום את השמיים ואת הארץ, החיים והמוות נתתי לפניך, הברכה והקללה, ובחרת בחיים למען תחיה אתה וזרעך לאהבה את אדוני אלוהיך, לשמוע בקולו ולדבקו, כי הוא חייך באורך ימיך בשבח עמה, אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב, לתת להם.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tachenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
It's our honor to call up Gail Lalk and Gay Clapman as we rise.
La
Our Haftarah is found on page 277 from the prophet Isaiah. I spoke a bit about this passage last night. It is here to really wake you up and stir you to be better. The prophet says, "Is this the fast that I desire, a day to afflict the body and soul?" He's saying, he's talking to the Israelites, you think you're so great because you can fast and you can weep and you can cry out to God. So how can we say this today? You come to shul and you wear your nice clothes and you think that that's all good, or you're so great because you can fast, and you know what? It's not about your health. It's not about the intermittent fasting for weight loss. No. It's not about you. That's what the prophet's saying. What is this fast for? To break the bonds of injustice and remove the heavy yoke, to let the oppressed go free and release all those enslaved. Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and to take the homeless poor into your home and to never neglect your own flesh and blood? Then shall your light burst forth like the dawn. And when you cry out to God, God will answer. Our fast is a fast of empathy. Some of us might know, but most of us will never know what it really means to be hungry. We're just getting a little taste of it today. So what do you do with that tomorrow? That's what the prophet is asking.
Isaac Littman is going to lead us in the blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Abocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
קרא וגרון אל תחסוך, כשופר הרם קולך, והגד לעמי פשעם, ולבית יעקב חטאותם, ואותי יום יום ידרושון, ודעת דרכייך בצון, כגוי אשר צדקה עשה, ומשפט אלוהיו לא עזב. ישאלוני משפטי צדק, קרבת אלוהים יחפצון. למה צמנו ולא ראית, עינינו נפשנו ולא תדע. הן ביום צומכן תמצאו חפץ, וכל עצמכם תנגושו. הן לריב ומצה תצומו, ולהכות באגרוף רשע לא תצומו כיום, להשמיע במרום קולכם, החזה יהיה צום אבחרהו יום, ענות אדם נפשו, על החוף כאגמון ראשו, ושק ואפר יציע. על זה תקרא צום ויום רצון לאדוני. Is not this the fast I desire, to break the bonds of injustice and remove the heavy yoke, to let the oppressed go free and release all those enslaved? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and to take the homeless poor into your home and never to neglect your own flesh and blood? אז יבקע כשחר אורך, וארוחתך מהרה תצמח, והלך לפניך צדקך, כבוד אדוני יאספך. אז תקרא אז תקרא ואדוני יענה, תשבע ויאמר הנני, אם תסיר מתוכך המותה, שלח אצבע ודבר אבן, ותפק לרעב נפשך, ונפש נענה תשביע, וזרח בחושך אורך, ואפלתך כצהריים, ונח אדוני תמיד, והשביע בצחצחות נפשך, ועצמותיך יחליץ, והיית כגן רבה, וכמוצא מים, אשר לא יכזבו מימיו, ובנו ממך חרבות עולם, מוסדי דור ודור תקומם, וקורא לך גודר פרץ, משובב נתיבות לשבת, אם תשיב משבת רגליך, הסוד חפצך ביום קודשי, וקראת לשבת עונג. לקדוש אדוני מכובד, וכיבדתו מעשות דרכיך, ממצוא חפצך ודבר דבר. אז תתענג על אדוני, והרכבתיך על במותי הארץ, והאכלתיך נחלת יעקב אביך, כי פי אדוני דיבר.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Sur kol haolamim, Sadik bechol hadorot, Ha'el hane'eman, Ha'omer ve'osei, Hamedaber umkayem, Shekol devara, Emet v'tzedek, Al haTorah, ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al hanevi'im, ve'al yom ha'kippurim hazeh, shenatata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, lim lechila ve'lislicha, ulecha para, lechavod, uletiferet. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, umevarchim otach, yitbarach shimcha, befi kol chai, tamid leolam va'ed, udevarcha emet, v'kayem la'ad. Baruch atah Adonai, melech mochel v'soleach la'onovoteinu, Leva'onot amot Beit Yisrael, u'me'avir ashmotenu bechol shana v'shana, melech al kol ha'aretz, mekadesh Yisrael, v'yom ha'kippurim.
Amen.
It's our honor to call to the Bima Sammy Golub, who has recently returned from Israel. We're on page 289.
Strengthen the land with love, and love the land with all your being. Feel the land on your skin and in your soul. Feel the history that brings you to this moment. Set Hebrew words upon your hearts, and on your lips its poetry, its music, the grammar of vines and fig trees. Gnarled letters like trees of knowledge before your eyes, a forest of knowledge. Kiss the children of the land, for they are the doorposts, they are the gates.
Let us rise.
Son.
Please be seated. In the summer of 2000, I was taking an Ulpan at Hebrew University in Jerusalem. Ulpan was an immersive Hebrew course. I was taking that before the High Holy Days, and then after the High Holy Days, the term started at Hebrew University, where I continued. And in Ulpan, you expand your vocabulary, you learn words, and you learn how to speak Hebrew for everyday speech on the street. And one word I learned that I heard being used all the time was betach. Betach means like, sure, great, of course. Sometimes it means kind of like, duh. So if someone asks you all, atem rotzim falafel? Do you want falafel? What do you say? Betach. Now, in Ulpan, and when you're studying Hebrew, you learn that Hebrew words have roots that are used in words that are related to that word. Each Hebrew word, or most Hebrew words, have a three-letter root, and then the ways that letters are arranged with prefixes and suffixes and different forms, then you could figure out what other words mean. So one day, again, this is the summer of 2000, I see my friend that I met in the dorms, Mauricio. Mauricio was a Jew from Bolivia. I didn't know that existed. I knew Bolivia existed. I didn't know there were Jews from Bolivia. Mauricio was wearing a jacket by the gate to the dorms, and it said on the back of the jacket, bitachon. I'm like, bitachon, that must be related to betach. Betach means sure. Bitachon means like maybe surety. Security. Mauricio was volunteering for security because in the summer of 2000, the second intifada had just begun and security was upped at the university. I didn't feel so secure though. Mauricio was only like 5 feet tall. So in Israel today, this word bitachon, it means security, but it has an older meaning from classical Jewish literature, all the way back to the Bible. It means trust. Trust is related to faith. There's a Hebrew word emunah, which we usually translate as faith, and bitachon is trust, but they're related. Emunah is like you knowing, the trust that you have in knowing that there's God, but bitachon is the actions, the way you live your life with that knowing. Here's an example from Rabbi Daniel Stein. A butcher who believes that his livelihood is ultimately provided by God has emunah. However, if he panics when another butcher shop opens nearby, he does not have bitachon. Bitachon entails the ability to remain calm in threatening situations, solaced by the knowledge that the outcome will be the inescapable will of God. Nevertheless, bitachon remains a function of emunah, since emunah does not dictate absolutely favorable results. Bitachon does not assume them. When we have trust, it doesn't mean we don't assume that everything's going to be great, fine, and dandy all the time. Bitachon. Friends, we live at a time in a society without a lot of bitachon, without a lot of trust. For example, when I walk into the grocery store, who can I trust? Is that person wearing a mask? Is that person vaccinated? You've probably had a feeling like this. That's on a personal level. So let's think about a societal level. There are many who ask, can we trust the government? Can we trust corporations? You can fill in the blank. Who can you trust? There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of change, uncertainty in the future, and this makes us worry. Like the medieval Rabbi Avraham ibn Ezra writes, He'evar ayin, he'atid adayin, ha'hoveh kecheref ayin, da'aga minayim. The past is no more, the future is yet to come, the present is a fleeting moment. Why worry? This, friends, is a statement of bitachon. It's not saying that it's not saying that things don't go wrong. It's saying you can't control the future. You can live your life to the best of your abilities, but you're not in total control. In traditional language, we say that God is in control. Now, you don't have to believe that literally to realize that at some point, the future is beyond our control. In fact, thinking that we can control everything that happens, that's what adds to our anxiety. We can only plan so much, and we need to plan. But the next step is bitachon. Taking the next step, not knowing what will happen, but knowing that you did everything to prepare for it. You've gotten your vaccine. You're wearing a mask. You're keeping up to date on COVID numbers around the state, in the county. And bad things can still happen. We are not in control of everything. But bitachon, this trust, is not about denying that bad things happen. It's about living with the humility that you can't control all outcomes. You're not in charge of the world. There is something bigger. And yet, the universe is set up in such a way that we can flourish. It takes work on our part, planning, being prepared. But bitachon is about facing the future with equanimity, with calmness. This is a parable that I read from my teacher, Alan Marinis, that he learned from his Rabbi Yechiel Per, that he learned from his teacher and his teacher all the way back 200-something years to the Vilna Gaon. A king places a ladder against the palace, and he makes a proclamation that whoever can reach the top of the ladder will be able to marry his daughter. So all the knights and all the warriors and all the big studs in the kingdom come to climb this ladder. The first one runs up the ladder, and when he gets about halfway, he hits a rung on the ladder. The rung snaps down, the knight falls, and he breaks his collarbone. The next guy gets ready, gets all revved up, What's going to happen to him? He runs up the ladder, hits that rung, it snaps, he falls, he breaks his leg. Nobody else wanted to try until someone said, no, I can do this. He runs up the ladder, he gets to that rung that has opened up, and he jumps over it, and he keeps going to the top, and he wins. Alan Marinus writes, the parable tells us that although the king has made a trick step, he is seeking the one who trusts him enough to know that he's not just out to break everyone's leg. This person is the one the king wants for a son-in-law. Of course, it's a tricky thing to do. The next rung could have been booby-trapped, but not likely. The one who jumped, he figured out the next step was going to be solid. How did he know that? Because he trusted that in the end, the king didn't want to break everybody's neck. Many might fall, but the trick rung was there only to reveal who was going to be the one who would conquer. Friends, we go up the ladder, sometimes we jump, one step at a time, and God is there to meet us. This is bitachon. This is trust. Of course, it doesn't mean that everything always works out. Maybe actually works out the way that it's going to work out. We're anxious about the world. The virus is still raging. We're anxious to get our next call on the phone. Sorry. We live with anxiety machines in our pocket every day. I do too. Always checking who's trying to get a hold of me. What did we do a couple of years ago if someone was trying to get a hold of us? Someone took a message if someone was at home. We were okay. We're anxious about the future, and yet we still love, we still create, we still teach, we still sing. These are all little steps of bitachon, of trust. Coming together on Yom Kippur is an act of trust. We don't surrender to the heaviness of it all, and we don't drive ourselves to exhaustion by trying to control it all. Bitachon, trust, lessens worry and leads to equanimity. We need to live with concern, but not worry, and God forbid, anxiety. We are concerned about the world around us, and we do what we can to repair it little by little. So how do we cultivate bitachon? Alan Marinus and Avi Fertig suggest this contemplation. Reflect in your life on how much care you have recently received at the hands of the universe. And then trust that is how life is and how it will be. Draw from the evidence of your life the sound basis to have confidence. This is not to say that everything will work out as you want it to. Most of us do not want to die, and yet that is inevitable as well. But is it bad, or can we have the confidence and trust even as we slip into that long night? Rabbi Yisrael Salanter described death as taking off an old overcoat. Even that can be seen as it should be. When you see and acknowledge the ways in life, the ways in life are set up to support the processes of life, then that is a very affirming experience. Look for that in your own recent experience. Is it there? It must be. Let that direct experience feed your trust. If all of us work on our own trust, it will spread. A way also, give people the benefit of the doubt. They're trying, most of us are trying just as hard as you are. As I said, coming together on Yom Kippur is an act of bitachon. As we said last night, we're praying together with sinners. I think the point is to include yourself in there. But we know that God is there to meet us. We know that doing the serious work, doing the real serious work is what we can do, is all we can do. It's this planning. And then we take the next step into life. Havar ayin ha'atid adayin ha'hoveh ke'heref ayin daga minayim. The past is no more. The future is yet to come. The present is a fleeting moment. Why worry? Shana Tova. And so, let's come to our great act of trust together. Trust that there is forgiveness. But forgiveness is not automatic. You have to work for it. The Talmud asks, what are the words you have to say for vidui, for confession? And Mar Zutra, one of the Talmudic sages, says all you have to say is right here. It's on page 296. Please turn. Right at the end of the opening paragraph. All you have to say is, Aval anachnu chatanu. We have done wrong. Let's put it in the first person. I have done wrong. That's all you have to say. But what do? I have done wrong, but I'm sorry if you feel that way. We rationalize, we give exceptions. And therefore, just saying, Aval anachnu chatanu, we have done wrong, we don't say it with full sincerity. That's why we need the rest of the vidui to really, the rest of these confessions to really get into our kishkas. So, let's get into our kishkas. Get into our guts, into our heart. Page 296. Please rise.
Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, tavo lefanecha, tefilateinu, חטאנו לפניך באונס ורצון, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביודעים ובלא יודעים.
Page 300 together. The ways we have wronged you under duress and by choice, and harm we have caused in your world consciously and unconsciously. Please be seated.
שחטאנו לפניך בבלי דעת, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בריצת רגליים הערה.
The ways we have wronged you through our thoughtlessness, and harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice.
ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחוזק יד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזלזול הורים ומורים.
The ways we have wronged you by abusing our power, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers.
ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביצר הרע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בקשות עורף.
The ways we have wronged you by giving into our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through inflexibility and stubbornness.
ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בכחש ובכזב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בקלות ראש.
The ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters.
ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשיח שפתותינו, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בצרות העין.
The ways we have wronged you in our routine conversations, and harm we have caused in your world through envy.
שחטאנו לפניך בגלוי ובסתר, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשנאת חינם.
The ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by hating without cause.
ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בפריקת עול, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך במאכל ובשתר.
The ways we have wronged you by losing self-control, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך, בגילוי עריות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך, באימוץ הלב.
The ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך, בנשך ובמרבית, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך, במשא ובמתן.
The ways we have wronged you through greed and exploitation, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך, בהרהור הלב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך, ברכילות.
The ways we have wronged you through our innermost thoughts, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך, בחבט שוחד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך, בחילול השם.
The ways we have wronged you by offering or accepting bribes, and harm we have caused in your world by profaning your name in public. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. We take these moments for personal cheshbon hanefesh, personal introspection. You can use the words, page 308 and 309, words of your hearts. Page 310. Page 316. Shema kolenu Adonai Eloheinu. Hear our call, and may we hear yours in our apologies and confessions, in the meditations of our heart and the accountings of our soul. Hear our call, and may we hear yours in words of counsel and consolation, in the silence of one who listens, in the strength of a hand that upholds. Hear our call, Adonai Eloheinu, as we strive to hear yours on this day of the heart, this day of repair and healing. Before our concluding song on page 318, before concluding just for this portion, the day goes on. You can join us for learning at 1:30. Our congregant Brian Dicker will be leading a discussion about are we as humans actually bad, good or bad? We'll be in the school wing upstairs. You can stay in the sanctuary where I will help lead you through the Machzor for personal reflections, personal prayers, and insights. You're free to be here to just meditate. Our services will continue at 3 o'clock with Mincha, with the afternoon service as we go into Yizkor and Ne'ilah. Please be here, either here or at home online for Ne'ilah. That is the most exhilarating part of Yom Kippur. You will get a second wind, trust me. And so let us come back together on page 318. We ask God to strengthen us.
Hayom
busy, meaningful fast. May you have a good day, a day of introspection, a day of renewal. Shana Tova.
Okay.